colored, and African American. But is that your true national status? My recent discovery in the Civil Rights Act of civil rights are tied directly to your records, your status, and your identity. Indigenous identity has been hidden in plain sight, reclassified and buried under layers of paperwork. On January 3, 2026 at 11 a.m. Eastern, I'm hosting a live Indigenous National Passport Process webinar. If you feel the mislabeling, if you know you're more than a box they checked, reserve your seat now and start reclaiming your Indigenous national identity.
Why do 80% of people keep scrolling into the same anger and outrage? Because attention is a habit, not an accident, and the algorithm just reflects what you feed it. Think of your feed as a mirror for your dominant thoughts. Perspective equals what you notice, click, replay, react to. Platforms, log, watch time, scroll, speed replays, hate comments, engagement equals agreement. So whatever sparks emotion, anger, fear, lust, inspiration, becomes a breadcrumb trail back to your mind. That loop looks like thought, content, emotion, engagement, more content. No wonder people feel trapped. They're being reinforced, not informed. Want control? Train the algorithm. Ask, why did this catch me? Stop arguing with content you hate. Mute what drains you. Intentionally consume growth. Change your attention, and your feed changes within days. Your perspective is power. Master it. Master your digital world.
All right, let's pull up a 1040 form. The issue is whenever you're dealing with the 1040s or any of these tax returns, they got things you sign off on, things you say you're going to do. And if you don't do them or you're not telling the truth according to us, we're going to get you. All right, let's pull this up right here. Shit. Can y'all see that? 1040?
Page 2.
Yeah, page 2. This is a 1040 typical tax return. It's a U.S. individual income tax return. So this form is specifically for a U.S. individual. So let me ask you in here, y'all, who's a U.S. individual in this meeting? Somebody can somebody tell me if they're a U.S. individual? Nobody's a U.S. individual?
No.
Okay, so if you fill this out. All right, so thanks for tuning in to the Nationality Correction Process. So, a confirmation that they can see that properly.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. In this document has all of the. This is a copy of when I got my passport. This is the front page. Anybody that's authenticated their passport will have this as the first page with the grommet on it. So let me make this go bigger here. Can y'all see those laws down there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All of those laws on there is, they said, issue pursuant to these different codes. And if you look up the codes, like say, let's say 18 USC 1733, I think I have that pulled up already. Or did I close it out by? Let me type it in. 18 USC 17. I think that's what it was.
Should be 28 USC
28. Yeah.
17.
Somewhere wrong. 28 USC. Government records and papers. Let's share that screen. It says books or records of account or minutes of proceedings of any department or agency of the United States shall be admissible to prove the act, transaction, occurrence as a memorandum of which the same were made or kept. Properly authenticated copies or transcripts of any books, records, papers, or documents of any department or agency of the United States shall be admitted in evidence equally with the originals thereof. This section does not apply to cases, acts, and proceedings of which the federal rules of evidence apply. So any government document that is authenticated is considered as the original, right? That's one of the laws on there. So another law is, let's see another one. 8 USC 1104. Let's look at that. 8 USC 1104. Powers and duties of the secretary. So this is the law for the passport, authenticating your passport or administering passports. And then there's, let's see, what's another one? 5 USC. Trying to find a good one. Well, basically, all of these laws talk about what's evidence. Once you authenticate something, it is considered a fact, and you could use it as evidence of anything. So you're going to create your documents, which I'm about to show you. I'm going to show you the documents. Let me share this. First, I'm going to show you the birth certificate document template. That's the one I'm going to show you now. Let's share that. Pages. This is the birth certificate template, right? So I always say on my documents, I put notarized statement and notice of birth according to religious rites. This is to certify the birth of, and then you put the name of the baby, the date of birth. Pretty much this has every.
The Civil Rights Act of 1968 never said black, Negro, or African American, but that silence wasn't new. A century earlier, the reconstructed Constitution of Louisiana in 1868 stood as proof that people once labeled colored or Negro were lawmakers, judges, and citizens of the state of Louisiana.
Yet, as decades passed, something changed. The same people who once held legal recognition as Indians, freedmen, or Creoles were reclassified, renamed, and redefined.
By the 1900s, men like Pitchfork, Ben Tillman, made speeches and stated, "Then we had a constitutional convention convened which took the matter up calmly, deliberately, and avowedly with the purpose of disfranchising as many of them as we could under the 14th and 15th Amendments."
But what if that wasn't just racism? What if it was erasure? A rewriting of identity, stripping names and nations from a people already here.
Indian, colored, black, African American. Words changed, but the lineage remained.
It looks like history didn't just rename a people, it reclassified a nation.
Peace. What's up? What's up? Turn this down. That's kind of loud. I don't know. Something's going on with my oh, that's why. That was the issue. All right, sorry about that. I set up one show and then I forgot to take the automatic end off because last week I didn't do a show, so I played a recording of one of my webinars. I believe it was the IRS webinar. So to all of those people that say I cost too much, I don't give away anything, I don't give back. Well, if you watch my stuff consistently, you will see that I do donate my time to people. But I don't donate just to anybody. Because, you know, when people come to me, I can sense when someone is trying to use me, they don't get help. But people that, you know, sincerely need help, I look out, you know. I do my share of charity. But at the same time, y'all know 10 years, this is all I've been doing. This is all I do. Teach you guys how to handle your court cases, trust, that's the main thing, and your nationality. Y'all know that I was the one who broke that. Correcting your nationality, getting your Aboriginal indigenous titles onto your passport record. Now everybody's trying to teach it, and they still fuck it up. They still don't get it. But that's okay. It's not for them to get, because I believe that certain people are here and designed or ordained to teach certain things. And for me to last this 10 years and to live as good as I've been living for the last 10 years doing this. Y'all know I'm not flashy. I don't go showing all of my belongings on the internet. You will never see me show the car I drive, none of those things. But trust and believe, I travel decent. Why? Because I believe that if I'm going to teach you about prosperity and how to level up, I have to do it by example, right? I got to be showing that I got something going on. And most of the people that are out here teaching, y'all see the videos, especially the ones that talk about discharge, negotiable interest, stuff that they teach you how to not pay your bills. Most of the people pushing that information are chronically broke. And they know that you might be in the same mindset of being chronically broke, so they know they can draw all of the low vibrational poverty mindset people in. And that's when I realized I had a poverty mindset all those years ago when it was taught discharge. I was looking for a way not to pay my bills. But at the same time, I said, I had a couple of businesses going. I had my DirecTV, Dish Network, business going at that time. I had my barbershop. And I was living good. I mean, at that time, I owned about 5 vehicles, making payments on 3. And paying them without problem. It wasn't luxury vehicles, but I had five vehicles. And of course, you know, I don't drive. I can't drive 5 vehicles. Those I was making payments for the sake of someone else benefiting off of me helping them out. I had my truck, and when at the time I was married to someone and she had her car, I paid for that. I had one other car that was being paid for. So when I came into this game, I was not broke. I was not living in a poverty situation, but I still had a poverty mindset, because when I saw the discharge videos, I was like, man, this is freedom. This is freedom. I knew it was freedom, but I wasn't sure exactly what. But what lured me in was that discharge video that y'all know who was teaching it at the time back then. Not gonna say no names. And this was JB. And I was trying all that stuff. Nothing happened. I didn't get any results out of that. All I did was get a lot of letters. I was sitting back, a lot of rebuttals, because that's what rebut, do this and do that. I was running around like a chicken without a head doing this stuff. And this is why I could tell you with definitely not to fuck with that. Because I too fell for it. But unfortunately for me, nothing got taken from me. I didn't get any repos, foreclosures, and things. I was smart. And I realized after a point that we were being lied to. And once I realized we was being lied to, this is my last show for the 2025 year. So I'm reflecting right now, like on my journey that got me here to December 30th, 2025. Right, the name that shall not be mentioned. Well, I got something on my eye. But anyway. I did all of that. Discharge, accord and satisfaction. But only certain things worked. Certain things worked. And before I go into what I was going to talk about, and that is, leave these old things behind, only certain things work. And that came from me. So I'm thankful that I was introduced to that stuff, because I had to go through that trial and tribulation and then come because I feel like I had to go through that so I could tell you guys the truth. Because before that, no one was telling y'all the truth. No one was saying, don't do this, don't mess with this, don't mess with that. And I realized that as time went on, a wedge was coming between the partnership. I couldn't figure out why. Because I believed I was standing on truth at the time based on what was given me. But as I had went into court and battled this and battled that and won cases, I've even taken y'all to my cases and show you this. I see people right now consider themselves elite teachers and they haven't won nothing. Nothing, not a case. And you ask them, how does this teaching benefit you? And they always tell you some nonsense about somebody else did it. Or non-disclosure agreements. One thing I learned, and I always knew this from my time when I spent my short time I spent in the streets selling drugs, being a thug, that some of your worst enemies are the people that have the same complexion skin. That's who I was at war with then. And even now, this is some of the people I'm at war with, the people that look like me. Because here's the thing. When you stand on the truth, the liars are always going to hate you. When you stand on your goals and where you want to go, the people with no goals are always going to have a problem with you. Always. And recognize that when you decide to make a change, you will be surprised as the people who will turn their back on it, or the people who will come against you, the people who will say stuff, the people who don't want to really see you progress. Your own family, sometimes. You got to be careful who you talking to about what you want to do. I enjoy staying in the comfort of my own home. I don't have to go to a club or a bar or anything to get my entertainment, although I enjoy doing those things from time to time. But I only do it as an extension of, I just need to get out of the house and do something different. Not because I need to be in front of a crowd of people or around a bunch of people and their energy, because I can become sensitive to certain things. Certain things I pick up on, and I got to go. But as I said a couple of weeks ago, January 1 is things is master teacher mode. Destroying the old, moving on to the new, and destroying the old. So speaking of that, in Ecclesiastes 3:6, it says, a time to get and a time to lose and a time to keep and a time to cast away. Let me read it again. There's a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away. Let's read. I always like to read the whole thing, because this scripture is about everything, like a time for everything, right? It's chapter 3. Let's start in the beginning. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away. A time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh, and that wherein he laboreth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of man to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time, and also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. I know that there is a good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. So maybe 2025 was not a great year for you. In your opinion, in your perception. Or those trials and tribulations, I like to say, was good for you. It was a time for you to go through that, because in this next level, 2026, you're going to need the training that you got out of 2025. In 2018, 2019, I did a show and I told you guys to buy silver. I said buy silver. It was $20 an ounce at the time, 19 something. Then it moved up to 22, 25. Now silver is sitting at $75.30 an ounce. So back then it was a time to buy. And after you bought, it was a time to hold. And I still believe it's still a time to hold if you bought. And I did a poll in the membership last night, and a few people say, yeah, I've been buying for years. And then other people, I bought. I did. They followed what I said. First, let me give thanks to Almighty God, the mastermind of the world, the universe, and give thanks to my ancestors for paving a way for me to be able to do this. Give thanks for the downloads from the ether to be able to speak these truths to you. What I want to tell you, if you have followed me all of these 10 years, is there any one of you that could say that you did not get a benefit from what you've been learning in these 10 years? If you applied it. If you, by applying my teachings, who can you say? Who can say that they did not get a benefit? Right? Can anyone honestly say that? And if there was a problem that wasn't working, you always was able to get a hold of me. See, some of these people that's teaching you not right now, you get, as soon as they get their money, you lose them. Right? Y'all remember there was a certain individual that worked with us who y'all paid money to, and he months, if not ever, got your stuff? Y'all know. I told y'all to buy that silver. Now this is the payday for you, a lot of you. Y'all gonna have a very prosperous 2026. Because the way this is looking, by the end of the week, you might see close to $100 an ounce. By spring, 200 or more. But how did I even tell y'all to buy silver? Like, where did I get the information? That came from me studying, researching, and looking up things. And the Spirit told me, this is a good idea. Although 2019, it took a long time for us to get here to this point where you can see prosperity. I worked with a few people. I said, y'all need to buy silver. I can't. I had other things to do, but yet they got memberships to watching movie clubs and stuff like that. That costs $20 a month. Think about it. If you bought silver, took $20 every month and just bought an ounce, that's 12 ounces. So by this time, 12 ounces a year, and that was 2019, and it's 2025 now. 5 years. That's 60 ounces of, it's not a whole lot, but it's something. It's the scripture that the slaves with the talents. I always talk about this. You had the 5, the 3, and the 1. Or 5, 2, and 1, whatever. There was different talents given. So you might be the one who can only afford to get the one talent. But the key with the master was trying to say, progress is what's important. That one slave took his talent, buried it, and did nothing with it, didn't grow it. According to the master, that was evil. And let's take talent and equate that to everything in our life. If you're in something and it's not being fruitful, it's evil. Christ walked by a tree, and it was a fig tree, and it was not growing. He went. It was barren, and then he cursed it. Now people say, "Why he cursed the tree? Why? What good is if it's a fig tree? It's supposed to produce figs, and it wasn't producing figs. It wasn't doing its job. Then it's no good. It's in the eyes of nature, that's evil. Because if you look at nature, everything multiplies. You plant a seed, a tree grows, and it multiplies into branches, leaves, and then it produces more seed to grow. It multiplies. So the law of this world is to multiply. That was the commission that Adam and Eve had. Be fruitful and multiply. Have dominion over all things. Yeah, 2025, you may not have had dominion. You might have felt like you didn't have dominion because maybe it was your time to experience struggle and learn from it. I just read the scripture. It's a time for everything. Time to be born, and time to die. Time to talk, time to shut up. But if you take the lessons of 2025 and leave behind all the negative stuff, you'll do as the scripture said. You put off the old you and become the new you for 2026. And I know this is a man-made new year, But still, the energy of the world is treating this as the new year. The energy of this Western culture is treating this as the new year. So why not take advantage of that energy? Because I remember when I worked at the World Trade Center, every time around Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, the three major holidays of the year. You have Thanksgiving, Christmas, then the New Year. Those brokers would get very generous. It was handing out hundreds like it was water. And I had one broker just give me $800. Here, Akeem, thanks for a good job all year. They get the alcohol in them, whatever their feel good concoction, and it was just free, giving out the money. See, it's not about the fact that it's a corporate New Year. And yeah, it's fake and this and that. And see, and that's what's the problem with these conscious, unconscious people. They don't know how to look at the energy of the thing and use it to their advantage. It's a corporate New Year. It's when every company closes their books to start a new year, and they look to the next year to see how well they're going to do. And they do everything in quarters, right? You have 4 quarters in a year. And the one quarter they look for every year is the 4th quarter, because that's what carries them all throughout the year. Because right now, they already got 4th quarter in the bag. So now they're working on 1st and 2nd quarter. Go buy that Valentine's Day gift, buy that diamond, and your woman gonna hold you to it. I know mine is. But what I'm trying to tell you is it's even though it is a corporate, well, I don't celebrate it because of that. Okay, that's your thing. But it's an energy. And this is time when most people are positive throughout the year. Come spring, people are stressed out because they're going to work. That energy is not there. It's a river, and you flow with the river. I know I'm not doing a yearly ritual like I did before, because guess what? It's time to do new things. And I've done that. It got me to a point where it's time to do something new. Y'all can still carry on the tradition. I'm going to still write out my stuff and do all of that. I'm still going to do that. But I'm doing it on a more personal level. I got things planned for that day. And, that whole tomorrow is all thinking about prosperity, progress, extreme prosperity, the things that I want to happen. The thing that not just we want to happen, me and my girlfriend. All of these things, big things. And here's the thing about thinking about the things that you want to happen. I left a quote on I think it was TikTok or something. Maybe it was Instagram. And then it was like, and I've said, y'all have heard me say this, and actually it comes from Reverend Ike. You will never get any further than the ideas in your mind. And then somebody come on, I disagree because I just put one foot in front of the other. And that's how I get where I go. And then I responded, you just made my point. Then they responded back, how so? It's this and that. I said, you just made my point again. Maybe they don't know what an idea is. I don't know. They don't know the definition of that. Any idea that you have that you generate in your mind that says you're going to be able to accomplish something is an idea. But you're only going to accomplish what you believe you can accomplish. I'm a master barber. I have a license to cut hair. And from experience, I can only cut a cut that I can visually see how it's going to be before I even lay my clippers on their head. I have to envision that, almost be like a mind reader. And once I see it, I know I can cut it. How do you want your hair cut? You ask the customer and he tells you, okay. And then sometimes you give a picture representation, but after you get so experienced, you don't need a picture representation. You become almost like a mind reader, and you become, and here's the thing with cutting hair. People tell you what they want to see, how they want their hair, but you also have to know hair patterns, the psychology of hair, if you will. You need to know the biology of hair, because people have different patterns in their hair. So yeah, this guy wants this type of hair. How do I get it to look like he wanted to, though he has a hair texture that doesn't really make it easy to bring that hairstyle about? I have to see that. How do I get that? Experience, repetition, cutting. And that's how you're going to get success. Experience, making mistakes. Hell, I made a lot of mistakes in barbering schools, and I made some mistakes when I got in the shop. When I realized that I was a good barber as a student, but when I became a professional, I was at the bottom of the totem pole because I was cutting with seasoned, experienced barbers. And that's when I really learned how to cut. I had to step up my game. You know, things like you don't just throw your hair clippers on somebody's head and just cut, because they might have different patterns. And you cut more hair off than you need. But if you want 2026 to be better than 2025, you got to let go all of that old shit. You can't be the same person you was in 2025 and expect to have something different for 2026. So that means taking an inventory of how you've been working. And I got sidetracked. So I was on the part of, you can never get it any further than the ideas in your mind. So that person didn't understand what an idea was. The very thing he said, that was an idea. So yeah, you're going to get as far as 1 foot in front of you will get you. See, people are so ready to disagree with you, they don't take the time to really hear what you're saying or even process what you're trying to say, because they want to be right. And let me tell you, if you want to be really successful, you have to learn how to accept how wrong you can be. Because once you take accountability of how wrong you can be, that means that you'll be able to learn so that you can be more right than wrong. Most of these guys who are billionaires now, millionaires, they made a lot of mistakes. They failed at a lot of businesses. And what I've learned over the last couple of weeks after reflecting, you see the heart of people. You see who's really on your team when things are not working out. Who's going to dig in the trenches? But anyway, what time is it? 7:43. Let me go to the comments. Of course, I'm telling everybody peace. And then Rico, peace, my brother. Greeting, Jody Stickamo. Everyone hit the thumbs up. Thank you, brother, for saying that. Peace, health, and wealth to all. Peace, love, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. Said, that ain't that shit I'll be mentioning. I'm glad I met him. He led me to you, so I am thankful for that. It's costed me some money, but you got to pay to play. But here's the thing. DJB Thunder. You was able to get more money than you lost from what I taught, helped you with. So think about that. So you learn. Truzilla said, but it wasn't in season to produce. Peace and love to all. I wish all prosperous New Year's. Right back at you. Same to you and your family. Because the fig tree had leaves but bear no fruit. This was the symbol of those having a form of godly devotion but proving false to his thing. Yeah, that's the biblical having a form of godly devotion. But the fig tree represents, and I did get off on track with that one. The fig tree represents, what good is a fig tree if it's not going to grow figs? What good is a fig tree if it's not? This is why it was cursed. Then let's apply that to you and I. What good are you if you're not going to produce? You're here to multiply. You're here to have dominion. What good are you developing habits that hinder your progress? In so many areas of the Bible, we're talking people who, without progress, get cut off and left behind. So that fig tree represents you. You must be fruitful. It is the law of nature. It is how do we even keep our existence going if we're not being fruitful and having children? Just on that level. And then teaching them properly. How do we have prosperity if we don't take the money we have and make it multiply? See, this system taught you to just be a consumer. Buy. Get yourself in debt. Not multiply. Now, the ones at the 1% level, they know how to multiply their money and have the luxuries at the same time. But before they had the luxuries, they made the sacrifices of those luxuries in order to be able to live the way they do now. They were smart with their money. What good are we if we're not developing, learning more? I know I've seen individuals just stop and then eventually they're dead. They're done. Big things, Angwan. What is that? I don't know. We should be taking inventory every day and night. Absolutely. I agree with that. They speak to argue instead of listening. Absolutely. I agree. All right, so we got tomorrow, and then we'll be in the new year. You got tonight to reflect on. What is it that you liked about 2025? What is it you didn't like? And what you're going to do to make the changes. Meditation, prayer, and I was about to say something, but Spirit said, no, it's not. Don't tell people your business. Anyway, that's all I got to say for tonight. I got things to do. I'm going to wish you guys peace, prosperity, extreme wealth. Continue progressing. January 1, 2026 is going to be Master Teacher time. The first Master Teaching is going to be January 3rd, 11 a.m. I'm going to teach you guys how to really, really, really claim your nationality correctly through your passport. I did this earlier this year. I think back in November, early part of November, I did it, and I'm doing it again. I wanted to do a in person, but first year we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it over the internet. All right. With that being said, I'm going to shut it down. And I'm going to bid you guys a happy new year. Hope you have a prosperous new year coming in. Whatever goals you set forth, I hope that you achieve them. But remember that scripture about the fig tree. Make sure you are developing some figs off of your tree. All right. Peace.
Why do 80% of people keep scrolling into the same anger and outrage? Because attention is a habit, not an accident, and the algorithm just reflects what you feed it. Think of your feed as a mirror for your dominant thoughts. Perspective equals what you notice, click, replay, react to. Platforms, log, watch time, scroll, speed replays, hate comments, engagement equals agreement. So whatever sparks emotion, anger, fear, lust, inspiration, becomes a breadcrumb trail back to your mind. That loop looks like thought, content, emotion, engagement, more content. No wonder people feel trapped. They're being reinforced, not informed. Want control? Train the algorithm. Ask, why did this catch me? Stop arguing with content you hate. Mute what drains you. Intentionally consume growth. Change your attention, and your feed changes within days. Your perspective is power. Master it. Master your digital world.